So today I'm going to be working on a Gundam model. This is actually my first regular size Gundam model. I've done a lot of the SD models before, but this is going to be my first original Gundam. The reason why has been because as much as I love how all these Gundam models look, and there's some really great designs, it's just that I've never actually watched the Gundam anime series, that I never really got hooked into it, that made me want to go and build them. Like the SD ones were fine because they're cheap and there are a lot of cute models and stuff, but I could never figure out like one that I actually enjoyed just looking at. And so I thought I'd go with the most basic Gundam model, which is kind of like your very classic design. This one is actually allows you to do an early type or a middle type model where like parts of the body units are going to be slightly different. But I thought I'd give this one a try. So far I've only been building like the Evangelion or the Mazinger Z, something more that I can relate to. So I'm actually excited for this one because this is going to be my first regular Gundam model. So as you can see here, it has all the parts, the classic red, white, blue, gold, and the grays. There's actually quite a bit of sheets in here, and at the very bottom we're gonna find the manual here, and the manual is gonna give us a step-by-step of how to build and assemble the model. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna explain my setup today. So I actually like using this plier rack to organize my sheets here. So if you can see, I'm actually having it organized from A through B, from left to right. So that's gonna make it easier to look for parts, because as you can see, if you look in the manual here, it's gonna say D2. So I know which sheet to pull out, which is D2, which is gonna be this sheet right here, and I can pull it out and take the part. So the way to cut these pieces out from the sheet is actually, if you look here, so I'm looking for C2, which is this part here, you're going to see a triangle piece. And so you actually want to cut above the triangle piece, closer to where this round edge ends first. This allows you to go in later and clean it up after you can make your first initial cut. So this is our first piece here. This can be a rough cut as long as you're above that point. And now you're going to see the pieces that are sticking out. And then I'm going to go back in and use this to kind of get as close as possible and try to cut off the pieces as nice as possible. So PLA models are actually very simple to do, because all you need to do is just follow the steps and just snap the pieces together. There's no bending or anything you need to do. All the parts are labeled on the manual, so you're going to have the sheet number, and then it's going to be followed by the number, which is usually inside of a circle. And so just by looking at the sheet and the number, you should be able to find the part and then snip it off and then put it together. So you're going to see the symbol with the circle and the triangle, and that means it's an option. So you have your choice to do the middle type or the early type. And so a lot of times when you see that kind of symbol, it just means choose one or the other. You don't have to do both. And I actually wanted to build the early type model. So all the options you're going to see, I'm going to be building with the early type option. So there isn't really much to talk about with this build, so I'm just going to kind of let the video run, and I hope you just kind of enjoy watching. I will kind of point out points here and there about things to look out for if you're working on this specific model. One thing I did want to talk about is I'm actually using a Gundam marker to kind of give the kind of more inset line. So any of the grooves, I'm trying to accentuate it more by kind of giving it more of a shadow line. You can use that, or you can use a panel liner, the accent panel liner by Tamiya, or any other type of pen that's kind of used for this purpose. But now after this build, I actually started using more of the Tamiya accent panel line color, and I used the black color because it can actually be applied with a thin line, so you get a very nice crisp line. With the marker, it's not as crisp and you kind of get a thicker line. I know a lot of modelers where when you look at their video, they actually do the panel lining after the build, but I actually like doing it beforehand because like I don't want to have to take off all the parts, and sometimes you have to disassemble some of the parts just to make sure that you have a clear access to provide a low line work. So I kind of like just doing it in between, which you'll see a lot in this video. So the white piece that you just saw me kind of stick on is actually supposed to be a saber handle. And the one thing that I did want to kind of caution is that it does slip out a lot. So I thought that, you know, that was kind of a mistake, so I actually ended up gluing it on. But in reality, it is supposed to come off easily because you have the option to, when you want the Gundam to hold the saber, you actually pull that part out to stick in the kind of neon, kind of translucent pink saber. Just to let you know, you don't need to glue it on, which is what I did, which was an accident. I found out that it was meant to be actually very loose. I'm also using this Gundam marker to kind of fill in some color. Like for this rocket, I wanted to have a yellow color at the bottom to make it look like it turns on. So this part here, I'm supposed to be putting a sticker over. I've never really quite liked these stickers when we put it on, just because it doesn't really look great. So what I'm going to try doing is using a black Sharpie to fill in the insides, and then anything that I need to kind of cover up, I'll try to do with the yellow marker afterwards. So here are the two arms, and the only thing that's left are the two decals that I'm going to be adding on. Actually, it's actually 4 decals, 2 on each arm. And so what I use is I just use a kind of tweezer to kind of make sure that it's kind of aligned as I'm pushing it in. And then I will actually use the soft edge to kind of just press it in a little bit more. I noticed looking at images that the bottom of the feet actually has these gray colors that I actually want to show. So I'm actually using a Gundam marker, which is a silver. I don't know if it was a gunmetal or silver color. I did want to paint in these kind of 4 circles in. This is the beam rifle, but I am doing the early type model, which is slightly different from the middle type model, I guess. Now that all the pieces are made, I'm just going to assemble all the parts together to create the Gundam. And once it's all assembled, what I'll do is work all the decals, and there's a whole sheet on the manual of all the decals you need to place, and that does take quite a bit of time. I think honestly it took just as long to do all the decals as to actually build this whole model. And here's what the completed model looks like without the decals, and now I'm going to be working on the decals. And here's the final image of the Gundam model with all the decals and all the kind of panel lining done. I really like how well this turned out. It's a very small model, but it still has a lot of detail, and it's actually a lot of fun to build. I'm not a big Gundam fan, but this kind of made me more of a fan. I really did enjoy building this, and I hope to do more. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you like watching this video, hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this.